I was preparing to take my girlfriend to Alaska to see the northern lights when I found photos of her lying naked with her male best friend in my drawer. Along with the photos were a bunch of lab reports checking male fertility. The date on the reports was the same day I had my stomach cancer surgery. So when she said she was busy, she was actually busy testing her male best friend's fertility. When I confronted her about it, she lashed out at me impatiently. We were just lying together, nothing happened. This was purely medical treatment. Can't you stop being so dirty-minded? Looking at the explicit video that came through on my phone, my heart sank into dead silence. After a long pause, I called my parents. Mom, Dad, I agreed to come back and inherit the family business. After I hung up the phone, there was a violent knocking at the door. The door shook with the urgent, grating knocks. Whoever was outside was clearly furious. Nash, open the door. It was my girlfriend Nadia's voice. In the past, I would have rushed to open the door for her, helped her change into slippers, and welcomed her home. I always felt bad about how hard she worked managing the company and wanted to do whatever I could to take care of her and ease her worries. But today, I just sat there, my expression blank. Seeing no one was opening the door, Nadia had someone break it down. The first thing she did when she came in was rush to my side and slap me hard across the face. Why did you attack Kieran? You know his health is poor. Why would you hurt him? Looking at Nadia's near-crazed expression, my heart clenched painfully. Today I had bought plane tickets, planning to come home and pack our bags to take her to see the northern lights in Alaska. I wanted to surprise her. Instead, I found those treatment photos of her and Kieran in the drawer. When I went to confront Kieran, I was beaten up by him and his friends. Now somehow I was the one who had attacked him. Say something. Cat got your tongue? Nadia's pupils were bloodshot, her eyes looking like they wanted to kill me. You dare to do it but not admit it? Some man you are? I lowered my head with a self-mocking smile, no longer having the energy to argue with her. I just tossed the photos at her feet. What is this? When she saw the photos, a flash of guilt crossed Nadia's eyes. Her hands involuntarily clenched, and she spoke with less confidence. It's not what you think. Kieran was diagnosed with fertility issues and might not be able to have children. I was just helping the doctor treat him. What kind of medical treatment requires lying naked in bed with a woman? Such a ridiculous excuse, yet she believed it. I just found it laughable. But Nadia kept talking, becoming more convinced she was right. That's right, this was purely medical treatment. Kieran and I are completely innocent, heaven knows. How can your mind be so dirty? You really disgust me. I looked at her, shocked and grieved. What was I still hoping for? I should have understood long ago, when she kept abandoning me for Kieran time after time, shouldn't I? Nadia and I were college classmates. We went from campus sweethearts to where we are now, the model couple in everyone's eyes. For her sake, I fought with my parents and stayed in the city. When she wanted to start a company, I emptied my pockets and worked hard with her to build the business from scratch. When she saw me vomiting uncontrollably after drinking too much at business dinners, she would hold me preciously, tears welling up in her eyes out of distress. Nash, you've worked so hard. When we make it big, I'll never let you push yourself like this again. She would gently comfort me, wiping the sweat from my brow. Then we'll get married, have the wedding at the best hotel, the most luxurious ceremony. I'll make everyone envy you. Those words still rang in my ears, but the person before me was no longer the same. When she looked at me now, there was only disgust in her eyes. I've already explained everything clearly. Stop being difficult, Nadia said impatiently, reaching out to pull me. No matter what, you were wrong to hit someone. Come with me now to apologize to Kieran. Before I could break free, her phone rang. After answering, her expression instantly changed. She shot me a vicious glare. Kieran is still coughing up blood from your beating. You'd better pray he's okay, or I won't let you off easy. After Nadia left, I stared at the door that could no longer be closed and thought for an entire night. As dawn approached, I finally went inside to pack my bags. Something already broken can never be restored to its original state, no matter how much you try to fix it. I had always thought about what I could do to keep her, but I forgot that someone who doesn't love you won't stay no matter what. Taking one last look at the room I had lived in for years, no matter how reluctant and nostalgic I felt, I had to let go. It no longer belonged to me. Voices of laughter came from outside. When I opened the bedroom door, I was stunned by the scene before me. Nadia was helping Kieran sit down, her face full of concern and distress. But the moment she looked up and saw me, her expression instantly turned cold. You slept well, didn't you? Kieran couldn't sleep all night because of you. I was so worried I didn't sleep either. How dare you sleep? Kieran patted her back soothingly. The atmosphere between them was so intimate, it seemed no third person could intrude. It made me, the real boyfriend, feel like the shameful mistress. My heart trembled with pain, and even my newly operated stomach began to ache faintly. Kieran took Nadia's hand, smiling magnanimously. Nadia, don't blame Nash. He only hit me because he loves you too much. Before I could say anything, Nadia couldn't sit still. You don't need to speak up for him. I know him too well. He's just a born bad seed, jealous and selfish, who can't stand seeing me be good to anyone else. Nadia completely ignored the pain in my eyes and continued righteously. Kieran is in this state because of you. I brought him home to help you atone for your sins. Saying this, her expression turned haughty, speaking as if granting me a favor. These next few days, you'll personally take care of Kieran. Once he recovers, I might forgive you. If you don't agree, we'll break up. Her arrogant demeanor suggested she was certain I would give in. In the past, I would have already lowered myself to appease her, because I loved her and couldn't bear to see her suffer even a little bit of grievance. But all of my compromises and concessions had become leverage for her to manipulate me in her eyes. Fine, then let's break up. Time seemed to freeze. Nadia's smug expression instantly cracked, her whole being filled with disbelief. It took her a long time to react, pointing at me with trembling fingers. What did you say? Over the years, we had our quarrels and conflicts, but as long as she mentioned breaking up, no matter how angry I was, I would immediately calm down and beg her not to leave me. But today, this usually foolproof tactic wasn't working. Nadia felt like she was losing control of something. Her eyes trembled fiercely. No longer wanting to argue with her, I picked up my suitcase and strode out. In the room, Nadia stood frozen. When she came to her senses and wanted to chase after me, Kieran stopped her. You don't need to go after him. He'll naturally come back in a few days. He's just doing this on purpose to get your attention. I'm a man too, I understand. Seeing her still wavering, Kieran immediately immediately put on a pitiful expression. I'm still feeling unwell. Can you stay and keep me company? With those words, he successfully kept Nadia from leaving. I went to the company dormitory, planning to go home after resigning. The company I'm currently working at is Nadia's. All these years, I've worked myself to the bone to bring in business and secure investments for the company, striving tirelessly to realize her dreams. I thought that once her career was more established, we could go home together. Then my parents wouldn't object to us being together anymore. Now it seems there's no need for that anymore. I called my mother. Before I could speak, tears welled up in my eyes. Mom didn't ask anything, just sighed. My dear boy, you've suffered out there. Like a child who had endured too much hardship finally returning to his mother's embrace, I broke down sobbing. After I calmed down, I said softly, Mom, I broke up. She seemed to have guessed it already, her tone very calm. If you're tired, just come home. We'll always be waiting for you. Dad jumped up angrily when he heard the news, but was calmed down by Mom. You calm down. I won't let anyone who dares bully my son off easy. My mind felt emptied. I hung up the phone, exhausted. After a few days, I went to the company and submitted my resignation. As soon as I submitted the resignation letter, my phone rang. When I answered, Nadia's agitated voice came through. Nash, what are you up to now? This project is very important for the company. You need to know your limits. Get back here and entertain the clients right away. I cut off her words. I've resigned. Find someone else to take over these things. The other end of the line went quiet for a moment before erupting with even more intense emotions. You really want to do this, huh? Fine, there are plenty of people who can do your job. Don't think you can threaten me like this. As if to punish me, Nadia immediately approved my resignation application. She thought I wouldn't last half a day before begging her to take me back. But a whole morning passed, and I showed no signs of giving in. She started to get a bit antsy. She called my coworker several times to pressure me. I ignored it all and continued doing my own work. It turns out when you stop caring about someone, nothing they do has any effect on you anymore. After lunch, I returned to my desk to find Kieran sitting in my chair, strutting around like he owned the place. My things had been thrown all over the floor. When he saw me, he slowly stood up. Nash, this was all Nadia's idea. She said to have me take over your position. Then he walked over to me and lowered his voice next to my ear. Who told you to be so stupid and resign? From now on, I'll be the one enjoying the good life here. Seeing his smug expression, I suddenly found it quite amusing. I don't know where he got the confidence to say he could replace me. All these years, I've poured my heart and soul into maintaining this troubled company. Yet he thinks my position here was about enjoying the good life. Well then, I wish him success. Seeing his face fall, I forced a detached smile.